For me, the San Antonio culture is unique to anywhere else, in my opinion. It's very much Southern hospitality, it's very much family, it's very much about food. But it's also like that Southwestern kick on everything. You know, the San Antonio culture actually shaped and formed the salsa, because it's like, how do we take, you know, my love for smoking briskets and barbecuing in the backyard and my love for trying to make, you know, traditional style salsa that Susie's mom used to make when we used to live with them, you know, 20 years ago, and bring that all together in one. I wouldn't have made this anywhere else.
Dominic truly loves to cook, and he has a passion. I think for us, it's really representative of who we are. A ton of the inspiration from our salsa is really based on how my mother used to make salsa when we were young. She was born in Texas but raised in Mexico. So I think it's really representative of our brand, our family, how we wanted to create a product that a lot of people already are comfortable with, and it's part of who their family, but with a different spin on it.
From a cooking standpoint, I started cooking when I was young. Both my parents worked full time. I had 3 siblings, younger, so I was oldest. I really took to it. My mom really took time to teach me how to just throw anything that worked, that was in the house, in the fridge, in the pantry, in. Because a lot of times it wasn't like, oh, here's recipes. I never learned off of recipes. It was more like protein, vegetable, starch. You know, it's just like, here we go, throw it all together and make it work. My ties to salsa actually start in San Antonio. My mom had a garden in Alaska. She made fresh salsa, more like pico de gallo, but kind of blended a little bit more. So cold and fresh on that side. It wasn't until I got here to San Antonio that I realized what real salsa was, and realized I'd been missing out my whole life. Real salsa from you know, at the house and cooking it on the comal or on the grill and blending it together. These were things that I wasn't introduced to until coming here, and I really wasn't introduced to the amazing side of what it could be until I met Sue, and her mom makes salsa, and it's simple. It's jalapenos and tomatoes, and she puts it on the comal, and she adds a little bit of garlic and some seasonings, and I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever had. It's culture. It's the Hispanic culture and the South, you know, South Texas blend of everything coming together. You know, the history of Dom's Chopped Salsa, it was really just a love for cooking and a love for making salsa for myself personally. What really kicked off everything was I started working at a company called Rackspace here in town with a great, you know, group of guys that love to barbecue. So like all of us would talk about barbecue, and then it was like, why don't we do some nights where we cook during the day, whether, you know, it's smoking a brisket or cooking some ribs or whatever, and we'll bring in and we'll have like potlucks at night. One night I brought in the salsa just to add to some meat that I brought, and everybody was like, wow, this is really good. I said, yeah, I just cook it inside, you know, the kitchen, just on a comal, and then mix it all together. I'm like, man, this is great. About a month later, I just ran out of time. I was trying to go back and forth. I needed to get ready for work. I had to be there by 10. The grill was still hot. I hadn't had a chance to turn on the comal in the kitchen, so I just literally took the jalapenos and the onions and everything. I just threw it out on the grill so I could go get ready. I was like, well, there's heat there. And just not really even thinking with, you know, the smokiness that I was cooking with before. Yeah, it's gonna cook, it's gonna grill, but it started to infuse, that smoke that was going started to infuse into everything. And so when I threw it into the blender and I blended it and I brought it in, everybody was like, did you smoke this salsa? Like, what did you do? Like, yeah, I just threw it on the grill quick. And it was like, it tastes amazing. And then I hadn't had a chance to try it, and I was like, holy crap, this is really good. After that, we started adding the poblanos. That was the key ingredient to changing everything. Was if you're gonna grill and you're gonna make your salsa that way, there's nothing that tastes better than a roasted poblano. You put that out there, you let the smoke get into it, it infuses, it just, that right there put it over the edge for people at work. It became like a once a week to a, hey man, when are you gonna bring this in? And then it went to, hey, we have an event. Can you make like 3 gallons of this? Can you make like 4, you know, can you make a whole bunch and we'll serve it across tables? We took what started just as a fun accident, took it into work, somebody finally going, when are you gonna put this in a dang jar so that I can buy this from you, so I don't have to keep waiting for events, I don't have to keep waiting for you to decide to do it. The look on her face when I yelled out from the game room, "Hey hon, I started a salsa business." Wait, what? We started a salsa business. We spun up the company. We made our first 50 jars. We brought them into work. They disappeared within like less than an hour off my desk after putting it out. I got the feedback. Everybody loved it. Next thing you know, we're making 600 jars every 6 weeks on a pre-order system and an Excel spreadsheet tracking, and we had a wait list. So the next big milestone from just starting the company and making the jars was deciding whether or not to actually move forward in creating a true salsa company, learning how to manufacture and how co-packing works, and more importantly, how do we keep grilled in our jar when nobody out there does that?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's roasted, which is absolutely not the same thing. People assume it's the same thing, right? But we knew we needed to capture that true smoke flavor, which is the big differentiator out there.
Yeah, so we sat down with a buddy. This is where we had a good friend enter kind of into the business to help us out. His name is Ernest. The one thing he wanted to help me out with was like, I love your salsa and you need to keep the grilling, so what do you need to do? And I said, I think I need to invent a grill that doesn't exist. He goes, I have a degree in industrial 3D design and animation. Let's take a look at some stuff. Let's see if we can render this thing and make it. So I gave him the joke is I gave him a 3rd grade design of what I think the grill should look like, and he turned around and gave me an industry grade rendering of what it could look like.
So that was the first step, and then trying to find somebody who would actually be able to manufacture that for us was another challenge as well. So same thing, we called around a couple of different folks. They're like, nope, that can't be done.
They thought I was crazy.
Again, we kept a lot of our friends and family in the loop as to what we were trying to accomplish, and they said, okay, you're looking for some funding, why don't you start a campaign? And they have, they were insistent, like, you guys have to go after this. We will help you, we will fund you.
So the Indiegogo was massive for us. It allowed friends and family from Rackspace to abroad to kick in money, and we raised quite a bit. We raised 1/3 of the grill cost. We were able to invest 1/3 of the grill cost ourselves, and a local investor and part of the Rackspace family, Graham Weston, helped out and invested 1/3 of the last 1/3 of the grill cost. So our biggest turning point came when one of our last jars made it to the head writer of the Express News for food and entertainment. And she says, well, if you're going to go after it, I would love to write a piece on you. I'd love to follow you through your venture of tech people to starting a food company. She's like, I think it's an amazing story. I would love to do that. We had only sold to our fellow coworkers up until that point.
Right.
Now Express News is going to drop an article and everybody's going to see it. Where do they go to get it? There's no storefront. There's no nothing. So article drops in the morning. 5 o'clock that day, we get a call from Mark, who's the head buyer of condiments over at HEB, and I didn't think it was real. It was like, really? Like, this is, I was very surprised, but he told me, he goes, I read your article, and this is amazing. I've never seen anybody look at making salsa in this way. I want to see you guys. You guys need to come down. So we go down there that same Friday, that same week. We bring in the salsa. We spread it all out to him and his associates there.
Tasting it,
the natural smoky flavor, everything, the difference. And he goes, I've tried thousands of sauces. Like, they get dropped off all the time, and I've never had something so unique and so good. And it's like you reinvented a way to make salsa. And we did. I mean, we had to go invent our own grill in order to do that. We are absolutely a family-run business. There is me, there is Sue, and then there are our 2 kids who have been a part of it since the beginning. Whether it's cooking, continuing to cook to this day, our son in college, but we are a family-run business. It is, my name may be on it, but it does not work without the family, all 4 of us actually putting in what's required. So Dom's Shop Salsa. What is it? Grilled perfection? Yes. Greatest salsa on the planet? Probably. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about actually how we make our salsa. So in order to get the grill piece, right, we obviously do some grilling. But let's talk about the ingredients. We start with Roma tomato. Roma tomatoes go across the grill, and I let them sit about 10 minutes. And I let them go ahead and char all across the bottom. The sauce starts to split, becomes super soft on the top, splits all the way across. That's how I know they're done. I'm starting to see it blacken out coming up on the sides of the bottom. It's split across the top. It's all nice and soft and ready to go and ready to wheel off. The next thing we do is we throw the poblanos on, right? So the poblanos go on and they cook, again, about 10-12 minutes. We let them completely char all the way around. We toss them a little bit. Halfway through, we go ahead and mix them all around. We got some big old pizza flippers on the grill, and we cook those up and we wheel those off as well. The rest of the ingredients that we use are all fresh, but we don't put them across the grill. Between the tomatoes and the poblanos, the amount of smoke that we use in the grill has massive fireboxes in it. So the amount of smoke that's coming up, the two best that are going to be infused in the recipe are always going to be the poblano and always going to be the tomato. There's no two better ingredients that we have that are going to capture, the most of the smoke and the cookedness of it, right? The natural, those black fleckings that you'll see here in the salsa, that's natural. That's coming off of the tomatoes and that's coming off of the poblanos. Fresh chopped yellow onion and fresh chopped yellow bell pepper, a little bit of mango will go in there as well. And depending on what layer of heat it is, it's either going to be jalapenos by a lot, or it's going to be habaneros. And then on our hot, a lot of habaneros, like 80 pounds per batch. And then we also use a little bit of scorpion pepper powder. And that gives that hot a little extra kick. We're a little bit hotter than most salsas that are on the shelf in the hot section, but not too much, not to where it's not enjoyable. But that scorpion pepper powder is what's going to kind of kick off your endorphins a little bit. Whereas you'll taste it hot on the front of the tongue. With normal ones, on this one, it'll kick you in the back a little bit and go, ooh, okay, that got me. Our grilled, natural, smoky flavor with fresh ingredients is going to be the most unique salsa experience. The reason why grilled is the largest word on our jar is because it's what truly makes our salsa different. Did I smile?
I don't know.
Oh man.